This time I'd like to call to order the regular monthly meeting of the South Union Township Board of Supervisors. If you could please stand for a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the roll call, Mr. Schiffbauer?
Here.
Mr. Vernon?
Here.
Mr. Scott? Here. Number 5, the Roadmaster's report. Mr. Vernon, will you please conduct that?
Thank you, Mr. Scott. For the month of July, following the Roadmaster's report, we hauled compost out of our transfer station 13 days. We used a tractor throughout the township 10 days. We cleaned Frank House Park at the corner of Hawkwood Fairchance Road and Route 40. We worked on the trail daily. We have 2 girls every evening goes out there and takes care of the trail for like 4 hours. Also, we straightened the street signs and also stop signs throughout the township. We passed the following locations: Redstone Furnace Road, Mulberry, Mullen Street, Duck Hollow, Sunrise and Walnut, Kendall Drive area, Beerwood Acres, Suncrest Lane, Spring Lane, Brownfield Road, and 5th Street in Revere, Cross Creek, Redstone Furnace Road, Gentile Drive and Christie Drive, Mary Higginson over by Walmart, and also Hague Lane near Patricia. And also we weed-whacked in front of all of our guardrails throughout the township. And we did trim some trees in the month of July on Loch Lomond Street off of Dixon, alley off of Jamison Street off of Dixon, and probably 2 days at the Hague Lane area. We trimmed the trees. And we ran a sweeper truck throughout the township 7 days. That concludes my report for the month of July.
Thank you, Mr. Vernon. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Schiffbauer?
Nothing further.
Move on. Number 6, the sewage report. During the month of July, 6 residents reported sewage flooding due to the July 21st rain event. Turnberry developer agreement, we're negotiating that. That's a subdivision down behind the South Union Fire Department. K2 and the Eads Group are both looking at the plans for that. WVU Medical Center has asked us to do a planning module to review it. They're planning on putting something in the North Union side where Mount McCrane is, I believe, and that will come into our sewer lines. That's why we have to review the plan for that. Redstone Furnace and Brownfield Road grant project that we received last year, we got $385,000 or $285,000 for a sewer upgrade that we're going to be doing here on Township Drive. Eads Group is reviewing K2's plan right now to see if we're going to bid that out soon. Route 21 pump station seems to be having an electrical issue. Our electrician thinks it might be something on the pole, so they're still investigating that. That's my sewage report for the month of July. Do you gentlemen have anything to add?
No, sir. Nothing.
Moving on, number 7, the code enforcement report. Mr. Vernon.
Thank you again, Mr. Scott. For the month of July, the following is our code enforcement monthly report. We sent out letters for property repairs with 8. We had junk vehicle complaints. We had 3 of them in the township. We had 2 dog complaints. Burning complaints, we had 2. Again, you can only burn on Saturdays from 8 to 5. It must be a controlled blaze. We still have to be watching it. It must be out by 5 o'clock. High grass and weeds, we had 21. We allow up to 10 inches, then we send you a notice. If it's not corrected in 5 days, then we either cite you or we cut the grass in charge and bill you later. We had 1 quad complaint when the citation was issued, and they plead guilty to that one? Pled guilty. Liquid garbage accounts, we had 4. They're all pending at this time. 1 parking complaint, and we have 1 full-time code officer and 1 part-time works during the day, Monday through Friday from 7 to 3:30, and they traveled throughout the day 1,746 hours throughout our township. And then also, we have afternoon and evening code officers that work 7 days a week. And they traveled 1,280 miles throughout the township. And we gave out handicap tickets, 89, and fire lanes, 25. That does conclude our report for the code.
Do you have anything to add, Mr. Schiffbauer?
I have not.
I just say, one mention, we did get a couple people on quads on the Sheepskin Trail on July, and the city police took care of them.
Yes.
They were both cited. So,
Thank you. Number 8, motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. The chair will entertain a motion.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Schiffbauer's motion.
Motion and a proper second on the roll call. Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes. Motion carries. Number 9, open bids for stone. Mr. Davis, you have the bids?
I do. My only concern is I can't tell whether these bids are for the stone or for the asphalt and coal patch. Can you tell
Cool
us?
Spring will be, the Golden Eagle will be.
And what we could do is we can entertain a motion to open all the bids. We could do
They're
that.
back-to-back motions.
And then, yeah, we can do that, and then the board can assess them.
I'll move to open both bids.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Vernon's motion.
Motion and a proper second. Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Scott, yes. Motion carries.
This way here will cover everything. We have the first bid of Cool Spring Stone Supply Inc., which is likely one of the stone bids. It's accompanied by a Fidelity and Deposit Company of Maryland bond. For item 100-ton, number 10, 1A stone. Unit price $14, total $1,400. Item 2, 300 tons, number 8, 1B stone. Unit price $21, total $6,300. Item 3, 200 tons, number 67, 2 stone. The unit price is $17, total $3,400. Item 4, 700 tons, number 2A stone. Unit price $14, total $9,800. Number 5, 900 tons, number 57, 2B stone. Unit price $16.50, total $14,850. Item 6, 600 tons, number 3 stone. Unit price $16, total $9,600. And item 7, 100 tons, number 1-4 stone. Unit price $16, total $1,600. The total bid is of Cool Spring is $46,950.
Would that repeat that, Mr. Davis?
$46,950.
Thank you.
We have the bid of Golden Eagle Construction. I'm going to assume this is a paving bid. This is a paving bid. In terms of the bond, it is accompanied by a Fidelity and Deposit Company of Maryland bond. Appears to be appropriate. Item 1, 800 tons, super paved 9.5 wearing course. Unit $60, total $48,000. Item 2, 100 tons super paved 19 wearing course. Unit price $54, total $5,400. Item 3, 300 tons pre-mixed coal patch. Unit price $85, total $25,500. Total bid $78,900. We have the bid of Highway LLC from Sarver, Pennsylvania. It is accompanied by an area insurance company bid bond. This is a paving bid. They did not bid on items 1 or 2. They bid only on item 3, the pre-mixed coal patch. Their bid per unit price is $80, total $24,000. Yeah. This is the bid of Bullskin Stone and Lime LLC. Accompanied by a bid bond of the American Institute of Architects. This is a stone bid. I think it's only a stone bid, I'll make sure.
Yeah, it's
Yes. Item 1, 100 tons, number 10, 1A stone, unit price $15, total $1,500. Item 2, 300 tons, number 8, 1B stone, unit price $24.70, total $7,410. Item 3, 200 tons, number 67, 2 stone, unit price $19.80, total $3,960. Item 4, 700 tons, number 2A stone, unit price $17.80, total $12,460. Item 5, 900 tons, number 57, 2B stone, unit price $19.15, total $17,235. Item 6, 600 tons, number 3 stone, unit price $19.35, total $11,610. And item 7, 100 tons, number 1 4 stone, unit price $19.70, total $1,970. They did not total their bid.
They're higher every
Everything is higher.
every.
I think they are, but I just wanted you to know
Yeah.
that too. Okay. Those are the bids, gentlemen, that I have.
So the stone was $2 to $3 higher every time.
Yeah.
So is everything in order?
Yeah, you
accept
can-
the bids on
I would,
on the stone.
the only caveat I would say is we'd want to, in the motion, we'd want to state that we would award the bid to the lowest responsible bidder, so-and-so, consistent with the specifications.
I'll make a motion to award it to those bidder to Cool Springs,
Consistent with the
consistent with
specifications.
the specifications. All right.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Vernon's motion.
On the roll call, Mr. Vernon.
Yes.
Mr. Schiffbauer.
Yes.
Mr. Scott. Motion carries. So on the, number 10 is the open bids for the super pave asphalt and coal patch, which we did. It appears that we only received one bid on the super pave 9.5 millimeter and the 19 millimeter from Golden Eagle Construction, which that's who we have now. But it appears that Sarver is lower on the coal patch by $5 a ton. Golden Eagle's 85 and Sarver's 80. So the chair.
Can we split that up?
Well, you can split it up. I don't know whether Golden Eagle assumed that they were bidding it as one unit, and I would think that before we would award, we'd want to clear that up with them. I don't want them to be operating under the assumption that they wanted all three of those prices to be fixed. I don't know, was it last year, did we split it out?
No.
I thought we did not split it out. So my advice would be that we could, table the bid for that until we talk with them.
We have time on that. I don't think it's
Do
up.
we have time?
Yeah, it's not up until
But my suggestion would be to table the paving bids Excuse me?
She thinks it's up now. Could we? She thinks it's up now. I thought it was in October, but it's now. Like, it's up now. Could we approve it upon talking to them?
We can
to make
approve
sure
it
they're
subject to confirmation from the bidder.
Make it a motion.
I'll make a motion then for Cool Spring,
Golden
I'm sorry, Golden Eagle paving, subject to, what, Mr. Davis?
Confirmation from the bidder.
From the bidder, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second Mr. Vernon's motion.
On the roll call, Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Scott, motion carries. Number 11 is to pass a resolution to submit an application for local share account funding. We apply for this every year. We were not successful last year in approving it as a local share account. Mr. Over, you can explain the LSA money, where it comes from and who approves it.
Yes, each year, the county the County Redevelopment Authority puts out a notice to all municipalities throughout the county to make application for LSA monies, the local share account monies. That's the monies that comes from Lady Luck Casino, the gambling monies that comes to the county. I think it's 0.5% of what the share is. And that month, all those applications are considered by the Redevelopment Authority and the county commissioners to divvy the money appropriately throughout the county for projects that meet the conditions of the LSA. Most of them are public safety types of projects, road improvement types of projects, something that benefits the community. And every year, South Union Township does make application. They have been successful in the past, and hopefully we'll be successful this year in submitting the application. The application this year is going to be for stormwater improvement project in the Rubel Wiggins Lane area of the township.
And we've tried previous.
And they have
been
tried
shut down.
previous and been turned down.
So we're asking this year, we're asking for $50,000, which is, it's a share account. So we're proposing to put up between 25 and 50,000, and we're asking for 50,000. So if anyone can call their commissioners, they make the final decision if I'm right.
That is correct.
On this. At this time, the chair, well, I'll make the resolution. That we pass a resolution authorizing the submission of an application for funding on August 7th, 2019. It's a regular, and this will be for stormwater improvements near Wiggins Lane and Rubel Drive.
Yeah, we should make this resolution part of the minutes.
Yes. That'll be my motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second Mr. Scott's motion.
On the roll call, Mr. Scott, yes. Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
I have a couple announcements before we go to public comment. I talked last month about a 10-bike rental system, the Ride the Trail. It's expected to be delivered the first weeks of September. These are rental bikes that are going to be located down at the Tails on Trail and also at Hutchinson Park. We've received money from Walmart to buy these bikes. Also on August 22nd from 5 to 9, we're collaborating with Somerset Trust Bank. Somerset Trust Bank has had Community Day Picnic at Hutchinson the past 2 or 3 years, and they haven't got much involvement, so we decided to help them and get involved. So we will have free food, games, and music by Tim and Corey, and also we'll have fireworks at 9 o'clock, and that's on August 22nd at Hutchinson Park from 5 to 9. And you don't have to have an account at Somerset Trust to be invited. They said to make that clear.
The whole township is
The whole
invited.
township's invited, yes. Fall market days by the trail. We had a market days in March. We're having another one down at the former Cluss building at 333 Pennsylvania Avenue. And that'll be on September 14th and 15th from 9 to 5. We have a limited number of vendor spots because most of the vendors that were there last time want to come back. And if weather cooperates with us, we're going to do it outside and inside. We just had it inside the last time. And also coming up, just a reminder, we're going to do the Haunted Treats on the Trail again, October 12th. We did it last year. It was a huge success. We're hoping it's bigger this year. But you can check all these events on our Facebook page or on our South Union Township website. At this time, we'll open the floor for public comment. The way we do public comment is we ask you to come up to the podium. Please announce your name, address, and give you time to speak on whatever matter you'd like to speak. So whoever would like to go first, if anyone would like to speak. Come on up.
Gentlemen, my name is John Leeson. I live in Craig Meadows, 405 Duff Drive. In this month, we had a flash flood that took 4 of my cars, and I got over a foot of water in my basement. I do have backup sewage insurance, which doesn't seem to help anything because they won't cover it. All they do is cover the major appliances. We need help. I have pictures and I have videos of my next door neighbors, and late at night I had a picture of my own going through my yard. There's way too much water and the sewage system cannot take it. So I'm asking you guys for help.
Did they determine that it was sewage with your insurance? I mean,
Yes, it was sewage backup.
they did
Yeah.
determine.
Well, they determined sewage backup,
Okay.
but the policy that I have that I thought covered it doesn't cover anything. I thought I had flood insurance with State Farm. Turns out I don't. All I have is sewage backup, which doesn't cover anything. All it covers is your furnaces and air conditioners. And I have mold in my house in the basement from the water that was staying there for 2 or 3 days until I was able to clean it out. And I took pictures of everything. But still, State Farm wouldn't do nothing about it. I got a call today that they turned the claim down because it isn't part of their whatever package they sold. Only covers major appliances. And there was just way, way too much water for anybody to handle.
Yeah.
It wasn't only me, it was my neighbors,
It's a whole township.
it's the whole township.
And it's
So,
not just us. I mean,
We need some help
Right.
trying to pay for this.
Right.
And I'm asking you gentlemen to please help. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Well, my name's Patty Franks, and I live at 37 Drupal Drive, and I guess speaking about the same occasion on July 21st of the heavy rain. I have a letter here from the township from last year in August stating that the drainage pipe located along Drupal Drive was deteriorated. It was supposed to be replaced as soon as possible. So my question is, the pipe that's referenced in this letter, the day of that heavy rain, we actually had a pipe in our backyard, a sewage pipe. The force of the water forced the lid off of that pipe. We had toilet paper down the side of our yard. So it's definitely a sewage pipe. It was an entire week before the sewage authority came and put the lid back on it. So that's my one question. Also, I'd like to know what the current status of the pipe is and the current status of this project that was supposed to be completed as soon as possible. And again, there were a lot of neighbors that had a lot of damage because of the water happens to run down through our yard. We didn't really have any severe damage other than water in our garage, but it's just a very much of a concern in the neighborhood. So we're just asking for help.
Well, to answer your question about the pipe funding, I mean, that's the question about the pipe. We got the easements from you, but we weren't
Right.
successful with getting the money last year. So we're trying this year
Okay, I
to
heard you
get
say
more.
that.
Yeah, I
Hopefully
mean,
we'll get it this year. I think we're in good shape.
money's the holdup with everything, but, I saw some of you yesterday. I had another engineer out there. I talked to Mr. Burns and some of you seen. And after everything I showed him, I said, well, what if we upgrade this pipe? His answer was, yeah, that's going to help, but if you get 5 inches of rain in an hour, it's not going to help. And this is an independent engineer. This isn't our engineer. This is another guy who specializes in, stormwater. And every answer, after every question I asked him, and Jim, you were staying with us. I mean, he said, yes, if you change that pipe from, your backyard to down past the Williams house, it'll help, but it's probably gonna cause a problem downstream for someone else, and he doesn't know if you get 5 inches of rain, he said it's not gonna handle that.
Right,
So-
I know part of the problem has to be coming from Hague Lane as well.
Right.
because
And I imagine, most of you are here about the July 21st flood,
Right.
and I don't know. I don't have everything that I come up with, and I'm out. You people, most of you see me. I'm out in my mock boots when it's raining. I'm looking at the storm drains. Mr. Over's been out with me. Bob and Rick have both been out. We're looking. But everyone tells me. I mean, I got DEP sent me an article the other day, and it says I asked him. I said, "What kind of storm do we have?" We got reports that we had 5. Rick's neighbor said he had a rain gauge
5.08.
5.08 inches, and that was during that whole storm. We have an official rain gauge up on Morgantown Road. What was that? It was
In the 1 hour period from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, you got 3.9 inches of rain.
so and then we have one on our Route 21 pump station, which is probably about a mile from you, and it read a little bit over 4 inches on that rain gauge. So I sent DEP the information we have. She highlighted 100-year storm event. Most of the storm events come back and tell you what it is in 24 hours. And I told the guy, I said, we need explanation on what it is in an hour, because that's what we had. We had that this year, we had it last year. So he highlighted, a 100-year rain is 4.89 inches in 24 hours. It's 2.56 inches in 1 hour. We had at least over 3.5 inches. So that's the equivalent of a 250-year storm. And every engineer I talk to, every DEP, they just say it's not going to, you're not going to build a storm sewer system that's going to hold 5 inches of water in an hour. And I know, trust me, I'd like to tell you that I found out. I did this map today, and you can, after the meeting's over, if you want to stay and look. Shauna and I just took all our complaints from this storm and the storm we had last summer. I think it was July 28th. And we put dots on the map at every address that called, and some of you don't even report. I know there's people in Craig Meadows that lost a pool. I didn't hear about yours. You just talked about your sewer problem. I didn't hear about that yet. I mean, I heard it through the grapevine, but I didn't hear it officially, like Pelham Township. So
I
some
didn't
of
know we were
those,
supposed to report. I really had
and
no
some
idea
people
that,
do, some don't. And,
to come to
but
you
I'm just
guys.
saying, this map is only people who called here and reported it.
Right.
So I'm sure, like your story you're telling, and probably other people in this
lot
room
more.
that didn't call. But everything, and the other 2 supervisors can speak too, but everything that I'm hearing from DEP and Conservation District, and our engineer, another engineer, Bob actually contacted another independent. He's a hydrologist. He can tell you about that. But he's going to come in and look. But they all tell you the same story. I mean, we thought we corrected the problem down at Wiggins Lane. You saw us all down there last year. We took 60 tractor loads of dirt out of that hole. Okay, so you're thinking once you take that out, there's no storm that's ever. And we had 2 or 3 rain events since then, and there was no flooding. But the other day, Tammy got flooded again down in the bottom. And what did we find? We found a piece of playground equipment got jammed in the pipe and shut the pipe off. So, I'm racking my brain thinking the last rain we had was pretty significant, and it didn't even come up half on the pipe. So what happened? Well, that's what happened. A piece of a stick washed down there, got jammed in, and then a piece of playground equipment. So, and once that happens, during that storm event, there's nothing we can do. We can't get in there and open that up. So, I just figured I'd give you my peace of mind. You're welcome to speak, come up.
I have a question. Excuse me, ma'am. I have
That's
one
okay.
question.
Yes, sir.
Is there any money available to help the people that, for example, I lost over
That's a good
$25,000 just in
question.
my basement?
We put together, we called, was it Fayette 911, wanted to report, because 2 weeks prior to our storm, North Union had a significant storm that we didn't get. It hardly rained at my house, and my brother, got the same amount of rain. So we put together how much damage, we just estimated, and trust me, Bob put the estimate together, and we estimated high. And, North Union did the same thing. It didn't come anywhere near where we needed to be. And even with your story, we put a number in there. So they came back, and Shauna, I won't quote, but it's upwards of $2 million damage you had to have just in our area to get even recognized by like FEMA or anybody.
So there actually is no help available from
And
anybody.
I've contacted, and like I contacted Pat Stefano's office and asked him, because last year they had a big flood in Bullskin. Well, the difference between Bullskin and us is the first floor flooding. That's the significant difference. Bullskin had like 23 houses or something that had first floor flooding, and not basements. We're talking first floor flooding. So that's the difference. And 2 houses actually washed away. So that's why they were able to get that money from, and a lot of their money, from what I understood, came from Joe Hardy. I mean, they did get some funding, federal funding, but the bulk of the money came from 84 Lumber to help those people down there. So, I mean, I don't have the answer. I don't. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. And, I know you're all frustrated. And I'm trying to find the answers. So are the other two. And, we've talked to John Over. He's talked to other engineers. And I'll let them speak, but I just wanted to give you my 2 cents. I guess you'd take it. And if you guys have anything, anybody else want to come up and speak or as well?
I'd like to concur with what Jason said, and in addition to that, I know we have a rain gauge. I have a rain gauge in my house. It only rained about 2.5 inches in Hawkwood. Do we have anybody here from Hawkwood that was flooded? I think that's a good example to show you the significance of the rainfall that took place in your area.
And Rich's farm didn't get 1 drop. Not 1 drop. It all came on us.
And also, we're trying to officially establish exactly how much rain did come down. I've been in contact with the hydrologist. He's coming out this week and next week, giving us a better estimate and idea as to how we can determine how much rain did fall on that day. And also, I've been in contact with AccuWeather. It's out of Penn State. They provide a variety of services when it comes to events like this. They even do what they call a forensic rain event study. And the gentleman that I've been talking about, he did take a look initially at some of the satellite statistical information on rainfall in our area. I'm waiting for him to get back with a more detailed response, but what he did see on the satellite radar tape, he said it certainly was significant, very local, but very significant in the amount of rainfall that fell in South Union Township in your area. So hopefully in another week or so, we'll have a more detailed and official information from AccuWeather.
It seems like in Craig Meadows, we live right below the shopping center. And the water comes down that hill. And they have a big space down there that doesn't hold it. And all the extra water comes onto the road. And from there, it goes left and right and every which way. That's my biggest question, is can anything be done by the shopping center? Since they're basically the biggest problem because they can't hold their water and it overfloods on the road.
That's something we'll have to ask the city. I mean, that's, the shopping center's in the city of Uniontown.
Mr. Scott, do you know where I'm talking about? Mr.
Shopping
Schiffbauer?
center? The shopping center?
Yeah, down in the back of it.
Yeah, that's the city.
What is that?
Union Street.
Yeah, Union Street.
Yeah, that's the
And
city.
there's retention ponds
We
there.
have a pond.
Now, we'd have to take a look and see and ask if they're functioning the way they're supposed to be.
Yeah, Union Street is a city street. That's a city street right there. There's a couple houses actually in Craig Meadows that are in the city.
Yeah, the first one.
There's 2 of them.
But
The first
I did
one on
talk,
Albert
I did
and-
talk to Phil Mahoney, and if you noticed last year, they made him clean that pond out up at the shopping center.
Right.
And from what he said, it was functioning. But I wasn't up there this rain. I don't know if it filled up and let out like it's supposed to.
Well, even our pond at the end of the
Yeah.
Duck Drive or
Yeah, we put
the other way, it was way over.
Right. It
They
came-
couldn't handle it.
Yeah, and I took the engineer, because we cleaned that out last year.
Yeah.
And I took the engineer over and showed him. He said, once again, that's set up for a 2-year storm, not a 100-year storm. So that's,
Okay.
that's his answer. I don't know. But Mrs. Williams, you're up here to speak.
Diane Williams, 40 Ruble Drive. First of all, for you to help, one of my friends after the storm said that to call 211. I don't know if I did, because there was supposed to be recording. I just wanted it documented. If you call 211, they sent the Red Cross out. They're calling on the phone. You'll get help. Call 211 and report it, and they'll hook him up with people. And I said, you need to help other people, but but to actually, you'll get some help. They're really good. Anyway, on 40 Ruble Drive, and my neighbor Patty lives at 37. What happened? I know we had a significant rain event, but our situation's just a little bit different, because the sewage manhole flew off in her yard, and sewage. She has toilet paper in her yard, and it's flowing in the flood water, and it flooded right through my house. My pool was contaminated. I had Servpro check it before we even started cleaning it. And my pool was contaminated with sewage water because it was flowing from that sewage pipe that blew. I think it's significant to note that that's part of our problem where we are. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diane.
211.
My name is Hillary Bill. I live at 32 Rural Drive, right next door to the Williams. I was not aware that we were to report if we had sewage flooding. Our basement was flooded with sewage 26 inches. It ruined all of our appliances in the basement, plus significant other amounts. If you need a $2 million amount, I could put a significant dent in that $2 million. And it was
I
all
can help
sewage.
too. I can help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Mr. Shipyard, Mr. Burns, Mr. Scott, thanks for having us here today. I just want to, I'm not here to condemn the township or either one of you gentlemen, and I just thank you for the work you do. My name's George Belch. I live off of Dixon Boulevard, okay, and I'm here to inquire about what's going on behind the stream, if you want to call it that runs directly behind Mr. Burns. You know what I'm talking about, I believe, right parallel with Dixon Boulevard, right? I've lived there since I was 8 years old, okay? And I got on the weather.gov and I got this printout for the average rainfall in this specific area. There's no real big specific difference in inches per year. And we played in this thing when we were kids, right? It'll kill you today. It's not just from rain. I've walked it, I've took pictures, I've took videos, I've walked from the Blue Moon in my boots, up through under the bypass, I've walked through the tunnel, spit you out on the other side of Cherry Tree. All these new pipes that I find, not necessarily that lead into it, but on the banks that weren't there before when I was growing up. It's coming from something. I don't know if it's a state, a township, what it is. And even at the 21 project, if you walk so far up there, at the retaining ponds, with the stems, the overflow stems and everything, even after they let out slowly, when you walk it, everything eventually comes downhill. Everything. The bank itself, I used to be able to jump it when I was in 3rd grade, right? The stream itself, I could run and jump across a 3, 4, 5 foot at the wide. Now it's about, what, Dan? 12, 14, 15 feet in places. I mean, the erosion is unbelievable. And I don't believe it's just from the rain, right? And I'm here today to just let you know that I am working with people with DEP, just investigative stuff, not to condemn anybody. I'm working with.
What do they tell them? I mean, I'm curious to see what they're telling them.
So the Fayette County Conservation told us that it was a township issue. This was from Heather Knupski, right? Now, what what's the gentleman's name from DEP? DEP told us that
Zach?
Mr. Glover.
Curtis
Glover.
pushed it off to Conservation. Conservation looked into it, did some research with DEP. She has the voicemail still saying that she can let you play, that it's a township issue, and that if you weren't willing to work with us, then we'd have to go legal with it, right? And I'm here, honestly, I've lived it, she's been doing it a long time. I'm just now starting to, because that storm on the July 21st was bad, but and I'm not taking anything out. But that's not the only. Anytime it rains, I would invite you to come there with me and walk it and look and see.
I've been there.
The culvert that goes underneath Michael Drive used to be a 36 to 48 inch rusty old pipe, that we used to slide through when we were kids when it rained. Now it's 5 times the size of that. Right? And a truck the other day during that storm couldn't drive to get home on Michael Drive. It was that high. It looked like a lake. Okay? That's how bad it was. And as I walk it and I see all these pipes coming in, wondering, and I've been on DEP, I've tried to pull all the permits for this area for the water. I don't find anything. I can't see anything as far as that's labeled to any of you gentlemen or the township. And like I said, before I go down, I'm here to talk to you guys as a citizen of the township. I don't want to take it any further if I don't have to. I would like for you to make it your problem and see if we can get it done right. And my worries are, he's got floods in his house, you know, and the gentleman next to him lost his driveway, had to pull his cars out the other day because it simply cannot hold that much water. And like I said,
And we're not arguing that.
right.
I'm being told that by every
I get
engineer.
you. No, right. And I'm here mainly,
Yeah.
regardless of the research and paperwork I'm doing, I feel like the biggest thing I can bring to the table here is living there my entire life and visibly seeing what it has done over the years with rain in 1990 to now, right? It'll kill a child now, where we used to play in, right? We built bridges across that thing. The storms didn't wash away for 2 years.
Right.
Now, that would never, ever happen. And it's not because of the rain patterns, which I have here, you know, in my opinion.
Right. But just to clarify, those rain patterns you're getting, the only thing to pull from are the Pittsburgh airport. That's where when you get the Pittsburgh weather area, so that's where that information you're getting.
Well, this is South Union Township from weather.gov right here specifically.
But there's no rain gauge in South Union Township with weather.gov. So
They're
I
on
just
Southwestern PA,
I got
not
the
Fayette
same
County.
Yeah, I got the same information you
With
got,
the-
and I called and asked them, you know, where you're
Right.
getting this information, because I'd like to get the weather gauge that you're reading.
Yeah, well, even then,
And it's Pittsburgh Airport.
right, so, which, like I said, I get it with the big heavy storm we had
Right.
on July
And
21st, but
that's-
that's not the only time
Right.
it's happened,
Right.
right? You
Oh,
know,
I
it's been a
know.
thing
Yeah,
for
I know.
years, you know?
Right.
And with the sewage aspect of it, there has been sewage detected in that as well. There is a sewage, look like a sewage holding area between that stream and Surrey Hill.
Yeah.
And there's a manhole cover there that I've seen actually popped off.
Right.
And when that all gets overflowed, back in there just before you get to the underpass that goes under the bridge, that runs into that stream as well.
Which is what flooded the Blue Moon and the pool shop.
Now, we
and
have
everything down
one
there.
change, and I've been here for 13 years. About 10 years ago, we took the water off the Dixon Boulevard from the bridge. We put inlets in, they went across and tied into that stream.
I saw it.
But before they went down,
Doesn't
way
go
down
all
by
the way
Blue
down to
Moon
the stream.
before,
It's got like
called
a-
11th Avenue.
It's
That's
got-
anything we did different, I
Like
know.
the end wall, that halfway down the hill, just bleeds down the
Yeah.
hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like
But
the
then we
stop
did, I
sign
know.
behind the Johnsons and at the end of the
Right,
day,
yeah.
there's a path to walk through. Like, yeah, I saw it, which I was curious
We
about
did about
that.
10 years ago, we did, that took it off the
Yeah.
Dixon Boulevard.
So even like say with that, Mr. Vernon, like you know, it didn't take it all the way down to the waterway.
Yeah.
But was there a test done for that land to hold that runoff before it makes it to that waterway? Because even through DEP, that's all required too. Like as far as water holding before it reaches the waterway. So, and I'm just curious. I'm just curious because as I walk it, I see all these pipes, right? And I just they weren't there before. And then when you get up to the state level aspect of the PennDOT project on 21, that's a lot of water. And I mean, a lot, you know, and it ultimately all comes down to us from there. It was never that bad in 98, 2000 for that matter. You know, the bigger they get on the hill, the bigger our problem gets down below. They've got money. Not that we don't have money, but we don't have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to keep throwing and fixing a problem that wasn't caused by us. Because I didn't even think to change it. It's noticeably different.
And Mr. Vernon, when you're referring to when you first got elected, I couldn't seem to, I've been in that house for 23 years. I live down by Circle K, right next to Tom Lichardi's office.
Right.
And we put a fence in when we moved there, a chain link fence, and we had 4 feet of property behind our fence. All the kids that came over from Surrey Hill, Michael Drive, I told them, I don't want you walking on Dixon Boulevard. Walk behind my fence to the candy store, they used to call it. There used to be a retaining pond back there. It was supposed to be an overflow pond. But they put fish in there, used to fish in there. And every 7 to 8 years, every time a new project, a Walmart, old Walmart, Lowe's, every time a new project goes in, I would lose 1 more foot of my property. Then I'm sitting on 21 watching these big square cement, whatever that holds the pipe in the middle of it.
In the pond.
And they were sitting there, and I told my husband, I said, where's this water coming to? Because it looks like it's flowing to my direction again. Next year, I said it's going to end up affecting the Blue Moon, the pool shop, it's going to go even further. And last year, the storm you're referring to, I didn't call and complain anymore because I'm just fed up and done. I'm like, I don't know what else to do anymore. Every one of my fence posts going across there, you can see the cement ball. So this spring, we took our fence out because it was going to go and take my pool, my deck, and everything with it. It's gone. And then the pool shop and everyone else got flooded. He, like I said, followed. Mr. From DEP sent me a map and said that we called it a creek when they were growing up. He said that is a man-made South Union Township overflow stream. So it is your problem. He followed it and walked all the way up. Every so often you see a pipe. Where's that coming from? You walk about 20 more feet, there's another pipe. Where's that? The water's coming from somewhere and you guys have to know where it's coming from. I told you, Mr. Scott, then when you got elected, well, actually I came over and talked to you and I explained this to you. You guys put a new pipe, like he said, he could crawl through it. The new pipe under Michael Drive, I can bend over and walk through it. And Mr.
I think I was done 2005 before I
Okay,
started.
the person, Vicki and John, that lived there at the time, he complained he did threaten to get a lawyer. You guys got a grant, came in and moved that whole creek back about 30 feet. I came over and talked to you. I said, okay.
That was right before you.
Before I took off.
No, you were there because I know that part. But when you came and did the other one, I came down and explained to you what they did on Michael Drive, and I said they told me they weren't going to stop it. The second phase would be done by my house because it really was as wide as this table, and water's not going to hold that. And you said I will be back. I'll make sure something's done. Now every couple of years when I call, I feel like you guys think that I'm a troublemaker, that I'm complaining.
Not at all.
I've never got an attorney. I've had people call me, tell me call the news. Every time Fayette County's on the news, it's something bad. I don't want to make Fayette County look bad. So my husband and I are too nice. We've never done anything about it. Jason Scott's the first township supervisor because there was an issue with, we couldn't even sit outside and have bonfires because of the mosquitoes and the smell. He immediately came and he judged that. I can go outside and enjoy my backyard now. Thank you, Mr. Scott. But somebody has to take care. I'm 53 years old. My husband's 57. There is lawn chairs,
Yeah,
construction pipes that are 20 feet wide.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I can't get down in there and carry that stuff out of that anymore.
I know the state law is that if you have a creek, stream, whatever it is that runs through your property, you're in charge of debris, you clean it out. But we're not talking about buckets and small things here. I mean, there's a 350, 400-pound piece of concrete slab that washed up in between him and I that him and I couldn't get out together.
My whole fence went down through there.
A fence, I mean,
And my fence would be if I hadn't taken it out.
trees now,
Yeah.
not limbs, trees.
So now the problem is right behind my house, my son just bought the house next to me. He's remodeling on Dixon Boulevard. If you look at the one section, we have that runoff with a stream. That's 3 times the size of this table. I have a big swing set that I put in for my grandchildren. The water was up 3 feet past that.
Yeah, it's, I've never seen it.
Well, I'm gonna talk to Heather because your first part, you said that Heather told you that it's our responsibility.
Well, she talked,
Because
yeah, she
I've
can
been
play,
out
she can
there,
play the voicemail.
I've been out there with Heather.
Yeah, well, she can
And-
play the voicemail, and that's like a thing.
Right.
That's the only thing, Jason, honestly.
No, I mean,
It
I'm
seems
not,
like-
I'm
it
just
seems
saying,
like-
I
I
take her
just-
out
I
and try to
wanna-
get her to do
I
stuff,
want
and
to
she's
do,
telling
I
me.
want to do as much as I can to avoid
Right.
A lawsuit.
Right.
going from here to here to here. If I can resolve this with you gentlemen here on a small township level versus taking it here and taking it there, I'd much rather do that, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's a problem that's too big for me to handle. I mean, and the thing is, if I have an excavator coming in that I work with on a regular basis with them, I mean, I would still have to get a permit through DEP to go in and dredge things out, but then I gotta pay for that too,
Right, yeah.
right?
Like you told me before, Jason, when you
I'll
were
come out and meet
little.
with you guys.
I'd love
I
it.
mean, I don't wanna hold everyone else up here for 10
Yeah.
or 20
No,
minutes.
Well,
Can I
you said-
interject and say one thing to that?
When you
I
live
live
right
right
beside
beside
Hold
it.
on, let them get out and then you
He
can
is
state your
kinda
name for
with
the
us.
record.
Well, I don't want you, I don't want Mr. Shipwire to cut us off because I see him already indicating.
Well, now to talk, I just.
I don't want to stress, my name is Dan David.
Did I cut anybody off?
My name is Dan David, I live at
Please,
205
please don't.
Michael Drive. This is not, I don't want you to send the wrong message to everybody that this is a 2-year storm thing that's going on. This is not 2 years. I've lived there for 16 years, and every year my yard has flooded. I have pictures of sewage in the water all the time. I have pictures of pipes that were put in as overflows from that manhole that he's talking about.
In Needles.
Yes.
With you.
So we're not talking 2 years of stormwater. We're talking 16 years of runoff water. So I want to clarify that this ain't a 2-year freak storm that, rain came and dumped down a whole bunch of water. We're talking 16 years of runoff from Cherry Tree and everywhere else.
Which ultimately, with the removed car on Channel 4,
Yeah.
that all leads up to that situation as well.
So all those pipes, if you could, like I said, if you want to come, we'll walk back in there and show you the pipes. You have to know where those pipes are coming from, where the water's coming from.
I mean, some of them I do, but some
Well,
of them,
right, there's almost-
I've only been
There
here
you go.
6
For instance,
years.
the
right?
one in 2010, or
Yeah,
the
they
come up
haven't
with the
been-
end wall,
there's nothing
halfway
since
down the
I've
hill.
been
Yeah, 10, yeah.
I saw the pipe, I saw the end wall, and there's probably no way of you to know exactly how many of the road drains or storm drains actually tie into that location to spill down over that roadway, right? I mean,
There can't be that much in the way of new pipes. There hasn't been that much construction.
Not that.
yeah, well, not residential, right? So as I said, I took it a step further and I walked through the underpass, through the tunnel that goes under the main road, right? And
That's
eventually
where Cherry Tree went
you
that
spit
way.
out the cherry tree.
Every time new business is
All
built,
that
we
water
lose
now
another foot
comes
of property.
in there, right, that's what I'm saying, yeah. So it just seems,
Well, I'll call you. I'll stop over and see you guys.
definitely, I'm there all the time working in the house. I
It looks
appreciate-
nice too.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thank you. Sorry, everybody.
Hi, my name's Trevor Layton. This is my fiance Ashley Thomas. We live at 353 Dixon Boulevard. July 5th, a car came around the sharp turn on Dixon Boulevard over our big rocks, hit our house. And the night before, we were sitting outside, just watching fireworks on the 4th, and this tire crashed right through where our seats were at.
You just bought the house, right?
Yes, last October. Yeah, our neighbors, Eric and Linda, they said this is at least the third or fourth time a vehicle has gone around the turn too fast, went through the yard. We just want to see about getting a guardrail around on our
You
side.
have stones there now, right? They're
Yes.
down by Marinelli.
Excuse me, I talked to your father,
Yeah,
dad,
our
yeah.
dad,
Yeah.
Coach, yes.
and I just recently mentioned to the other two supervisors, and, we're taking this under advisement, and we're going to come up with some kind of help for you, whether it be extending the guardrails or doing something to further protect you.
Okay.
That one stone was moved, right, knocked off.
Yes,
It hit the corner of your house.
yes, in the corner of the
Yeah, it was
house.
up there.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
stones
he-
didn't
he's-
stop him at all. He just.
I live right by there. I live on Lydia and Jet down right by you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he explained in detail in a record what's going on in the past, and we're very aware of it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
We'll get back with you.
Anyone else? How are you?
Amanda Richmond, 45 Barker Road. I have pictures of the line. Can I show you them?
I mean, I'd
we
prefer
have a
another
scope in it.
time, but okay, that's fine.
We have a scope in the line right now. We only have 4 options. This is what's blocking our line. We've synced it twice. We can't get past it. Something had to wash back up.
Where do you live?
45 Barker Road. I'm the one that called the other day.
But that's your sewer line. I mean,
I know, but if something washed back up it from those storms, how's that our
how
fault?
can you prove that it did or didn't? I mean, I
Well, I
can't.
mean, nothing man-made would have gone down my toilet or in my cleanout line.
Could have. I mean, I'll look at it. Anything can go down.
But I mean, if you look at that, we had
It
Brian
looks like a
Miller.
blockage.
Yeah, we had Brian Miller come over and shove, literally, we rented a 100-foot tank from Home Depot. And he had to literally shove it down and just barely got a hole through that just to get our sewage passed so we can at least have some use in our house. But we called City of Uniontown
How
today.
far from your house is this?
It's down at the T. And we had City of Uniontown come today and they stuck their hose down in it and tried to blast
Gutter,
it. It won't go through. We don't, what can we do?
You have to dig it up. I mean,
So there's nothing the township will do to help us?
we're not equipped to do.
I mean, I know you told me you're not a miracle worker, I understand that.
Well, I can
But-
only tell you, you have a sewer problem at your house. I can't.
If it was a main drain, we'd
Right, if
work
that's the main
responsible.
line, I would be there and we would dig it up and get it open, but this is at your house. I don't have the,
But something had to wash back up from that storm. We're right in that area where all those manholes popped off. There was a manhole right across the street from our house.
I'm
that
not
was
saying
popped
that's
off.
not possible.
They're working
but,
on it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
that's-
where they're working on Country Club Boulevard. We're literally first house right down that road.
Talk to the contractor.
Lee's is the contractor. You were gonna call, did you ever get a hold of that, Lee?
He wouldn't answer, no. He couldn't get on.
We can call them for you. Take a picture of that.
Yeah, I can email, my husband has his email, he sent you some pictures the other day.
Yes, that's right.
I can email.
I'm going to recommend that if you believe it's part of the construction that's going on Country Club Boulevard and Lee
Mhm.
Plumbing had something to do with it, they have insurance, file a claim with their insurance company.
Police plumbing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we have to get it out, like we need, obviously be able to use our sewage, so something's gotta be done.
They have machines, if you could get a hold of them, they might just.
Yeah, they have a
You
small
you
generator.
believe it's associated with that
I
construction
definitely do, yeah.
project and that contractor, file, the contractor has insurance, file a claim with the contractor.
If you get stuck, just let us know.
Okay, and I'll email you that.
They're nice people, these plumbing, very
Okay,
nice.
thank you.
My name is Kelly Bitter, and I just wanted to thank Virginia Circle 312.
What's the address?
312. I also have never reported, but it was last year and this year. I know you put some new drains in Virginia Circle last year or so. I just feel like if there were more
We
drains.
just put one in on Victor Drive about 7 or 8 years ago. Victor Drive, on the Lopez.
Where's 312 at? I just, to get my.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, we just put one in to the left, yeah.
Yeah,
We're gonna-
across
yeah,
the
right
street.
there, you did. Yeah.
And I understand torrential downpour, I get it, but I feel like if there were more drains to help capture, it would help from some of the flooding. I mean, I don't know if you could put additional drains in along Virginia Circle, strategic, I don't know. I just feel like if there were more drains.
Look at it.
Because we're getting, like in the big drain right at the driveway, I mean, there's other places, River Rock, White, I mean, it's all washing down. I feel like there's not enough drainage in that.
Right at that corner, right? I guess over there with,
Yeah.
check it for you.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Janet Lutz, and I live in Craig Meadows, 308 Meadowlark Drive. And we had about 3 feet of water in our basement. It came up through our toilet. It was pouring it at such a high rate that we just abandoned it, went upstairs, and ended up with, I lost my washer, my dryer, my furnace, my hot water tank. And this, and I understand it's a 100-year rain, which is happening more frequently. So, my suggestion is perhaps could the ponds be made larger since these rains are coming at more frequency, I mean, you guys did dredge the pond in our neighborhood not too long ago.
Last year, yeah.
And for the most part, it tends to hold the water. But the other issue is Francis Street, and I understand that's the city. However, we need you guys to fight for us. The water from Francis Street, even up on Morgantown Street, pours down the whole way down Francis Street. There are no drains. There might be one at the very top of the street, but there are no drains to capture that water. And if you ever come there and watch it when it's raining, all of that water from Morgantown Street down Francis is draining down into our little holding pond. And so, given that, and I think, John Leza had said, also there is a holding pond behind the shopping center. But I'm not sure if it works because I know that the street behind the shopping center fills up, it floods. But I'm not sure that there's anything diverting the water into that holding pond if there aren't any culverts. So, I don't even know, I mean, I've never seen any real water in that holding pond. It all collects in that dip in the road. And so, if you could, work on our behalf to solicit the city to maybe take a look at that. The other thing is, and this did happen 25 years ago, but it came up through our toilet.
all of these years, we carried the backup of drainage sewage, which does not cover your personal belongings, only appliances. Unfortunately, this year we did not have it. We thought we did, but we didn't. So we have no coverage to cover any of it. Also, originally, Salvatola, there was supposed to be a holding pond in where the Weisses are right now. They're like catty corner or right across the street from us. They have a big culvert in their yard, and that's where the river came down through. I don't know if that was the original plan for one holding pond or two holding ponds. And I can understand if it was maybe the original one, and for aesthetics, they moved it down to where it is now, which makes more sense. But, you know, maybe, you know, the other thing too is in our backyard, we've lived there 30 years. We've never had an issue, a real issue with water coming down over our hill. In the last year, 4 times, I've had water come over my wall, into the pool. I've even had it about 4 feet from my patio door. So I don't know if it's the water, again, coming from Francis Street. I did see that it does kind of come down around a house above me. If it's drains that are coming out over the hill that come down into my yard, but, you know, that's a real concern too. So, you know, we're taking steps to try to remedy it. But if you guys could, the Francis Street, you know, the drainage problem, maybe dredge the holding ponds, make them larger, because we are getting these heavy rains with more frequency.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Troy Daly. I live at 214 Michael Drive, Scott Valley. Recently purchased this house in October. I understand you're talking about the flooding, the amount of rain, but it floods my property every time it rains. Every time it rains.
What, 214?
214 Michael Drive. Yes, when you
I'm going to talk.
Yeah. I understand it's my responsibility to take care of the overflow stream, but it is impossible for me to do. There is rocks, asphalt, blacktop. There's things in there I have no way of removing unless I pay for it out of my pocket to remove this. I'm asking for help. I've already lost 1.5 feet of property this year. In 1 year, I've lost 1.5 feet. As George and his mother said, it's too much water coming into this. There's no reason why this thing should be flooding 4 feet over the bank every time it rains. So all I'm asking for is to come out, look. Anytime it rains, come out, look. It's in my property.
We did that last year too, before you
Yes,
it was
yes.
for sale, yeah.
So, but it's just normal rains. It rained yesterday. It was in my property. There's too much water coming down there and nowhere for it to go. With everything that's been brought down from this flood, there's no way to remove it, and all it's going to do is flood again. Another heavy 3-day storm, Blue Moon is going to be underwater. It's going to happen. There's no place for this water to run.
Mr. Rosso lost his whole building behind Blue Moon.
Correct.
First time ever.
So I'm asking you to come out. We know you can get to the edge and pull this stuff out of there so the water has some place to flow. They talked about the old pond behind the property. Use that as an overflow if you can. I don't know if you have to get permission of the ownership or whatever, but there has to be a way to divert this water somewhere else.
Thank you.
I just have one simple request. It's very direct. I'll leave most of the details out.
State your name.
Vince Camaco, I live at 30 Wiggins Lane.
Thanks, Vince.
Our property obviously has been flooded multiple times over the last 13 months. 4 times it's been in our house. We've heard a lot about damages today. We have probably more in surf prone costs than most people here have in damages. As of today, we again hired a contractor so our kids have a place to live. We don't have a house, we're homeless. We've been asking for the township, for you, Mr. Davis, to send out VCO from John Over's company, and they have yet to come to our house. We have mold in our home. We don't know if it's black mold.
We have that
toxic mold.
Today we worked on that today. With
White mold.
Mr. Davis.
You know, we chose this community to raise our kids. You know my son, you know,
Very good athlete.
very good athlete, loves South Union sports. We appreciate everything you guys have done. My daughter is on the softball team that won that trophy. You know, thanks to her abilities at heart and afford, you know, what that it's afforded her. She's now going to be on a travel softball team that's going to play for nationals at age 9. So, we need an inspection of our home to see if it's habitable for our children and for my wife and I, because we have been homeless since the 21st of July.
You can wait, we can set you up. In fact, you guys have our attorney.
First of all, I can't comment on that, as you know.
I understand that,
Pending
and I appreciate
litigation, and I can't comment. As far as the inspection, we're taking care of that, and actually, I had thought it was done, but I'm going to talk to Mr. Over today. So that'll be taken care
We
of.
really appreciate it.
That'll be
Done tomorrow,
It'll be done.
so that
I'll
we can
speak to
get
Mr.
that out of our
As soon as this
home
meeting's
gates
over,
forever.
as soon as this meeting's over, I'll discuss with Mr. Over. And I did talk to your attorney about it.
We appreciate that.
Give a number we can.
And for what it's worth, I mean, Jason, thank you. You know that everybody knows the position we're in. We know it. Thank you for your time. That's all.
Thanks.
Gary Thomas, 180 Hague Lane. I've been listening to all the floodwater, like runoff stuff. It brought back Mary Lake over to Uniontown Hospital whenever they put that parking lot in. There's big pipes under there to contain all the storm water so it don't flood the project. Where's that water going to down that way towards, is that going down towards, to the Blue Moon, that too, or not? Possibly, I don't know.
I put it in, but I don't know where it goes.
Yeah.
I believe it enters Colic and runs downstream.
Down farther.
Downstream.
And I know you put all the sewer in there, but they're all 17 over there. And down behind us, how we have that river coming down 10 to 15 foot wide, all coming across down Patricia. It's not even hitting the culverts. I've been out there and it just runs straight down. It's not going to the sides. It's going across and all running down behind our yard.
This last rain, yeah, it did.
Last year too.
Yeah, but
And
like a normal rain, I got videos of it, and like a normal rain, it catches some of it, but you know, you have a mountain behind you to, you know, to Todd Castile's house, you have, I think there's 140 acres there that is all downhill to your backyard.
Yeah. Okay, well, going back to what I was thinking about, all that, we're getting off Virginia Circle, Patricia coming down, I know it all costs money or whatever, but somehow a plan, a retaining pond to divert that so it's not full force down through there.
I think that the hydraulic study we're gonna do is gonna tell us that, but like I said, every time that I went, even talking to the engineer yesterday, every time I mentioned, what about putting right below you, Brandon's house? If we could get this and get a retention pond here, what do you think about that? He said, yeah, that'll help, but it's still not gonna do 5 inches in or out. I mean, that was his answer for everything that I asked him is, you know, it'll help, but it's still not gonna, if you have that same rain, after we put a pond here, down by Don Williams and down by Camaco's, it's still not gonna help with the 5-year rate. I mean, that was his answer for everything. Trust me, I wanna hear that, yeah, this is gonna work.
But I know they did precautions at the Uniontown Hospital to prevent that.
That's all that is an underground retention pond. It's just they didn't have an area to do it, so they put it under the parking lot.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
It's the same,
I mean,
it's the same thing.
I don't know, just for, it's gonna take a while, but to maybe do that throughout the township and try to do something like that.
We're trying, trust me, it just, you know,
It
when you
just
start
probably-
talking about retention ponds, like even to put a little one there, Brand, I asked the engineer I was with yesterday, I said, it's a rough idea. If we were, say they were to give us this ground, we put a retention pond here, so what are we talking? He said $300,000-$400,000 to put a retention pond there. And, you know, we don't have that, you know, and there's not grants out, like, you wanna apply for a grant and say, I wanna put a holding pond in. There, I don't know, you know, John could speak more on it, but when I talk to the people that I'm talking to, they're just like, yeah, that's not gonna happen unless, the difference is the first floor flooding. That's the difference. If you had a whole community that was getting flooded, first floor flooding, even Pat Stefano's office said, I can get you grants, the federal government will write checks for it.
And I checked on flood insurance. It's useless
You're not
because
in
you
a
have to
floodplain.
flood 2 acres around your property.
Right, and you're not in a floodplain, so.
Right, exactly.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
No one else, we'll move on.
No, there's somewhere.
Oh,
Terry Murray, live at 500 Willoughby Drive. Just have one question. Does our stormwater routes, were they modern? Anybody done due diligence through the years to keep it upgraded?
I don't know what you're asking.
I'm asking, you're saying, you keep talking about,
They're in compliance with the 2-year storm, which DEP requires, yes.
okay,
And that's what the first question I
So-
asked DEP.
so everything out there, the water's going the way it's supposed to go?
Well, I don't think that's the
No,
case.
it's
but-
not.
No, I mean, I don't think any community has that where they can say the water's going.
That may be, but we should not have another development going in until we rectify our problems. Should not.
It's duly noted, but can we stop it? Can we stop it?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to keep in mind that we are very, very diligent as far as any new developments and retention ponds. So that's the first step. In fact, we have sat down, we've gone over our ordinance, and we're going to revise it. And we've put in strict standards for any new development. So to answer your question, I think the fair answer is yes, we are. But that doesn't change the fact that you have historical developments, old developments, and we can't necessarily go in there and change those. That would take an enormous amount of money, and no municipality has that. But moving forward, we are. And I invite you to look at it and look at some of the modules that will be approved in the future.
And everybody knows you can't do it all at one time. But doing nothing isn't the answer either.
But that's not what's happening.
Well,
but unfortunately, when you have an event of this nature, it takes everything, it magnifies it.
But Mr. Davis, 4 times in a year, to about this month, 4 times in a year. Now, I know this last rain was a little bit extraordinary. I went up to Cherokee's that day of that rain, and his one retention pond, he covered it up. His drains, he tore them out. There was a slip coming off of the hill behind homes up on Hay Lane, and muddy water was just running everywhere through the Stollen Acres, down to Vince that just spoke here a little bit ago. And, I mean, it was a shame. And I went up and I saw the Williams home, what was going on there, and it was a shame. And Mr. Cherokee isn't the main problem, but he is a major contributor. 5 or 6 years ago, Mr. Schiffbauer and I met at my house, and I told him, I suggested to him that something's going to happen. That's before Mr. Cherokee ever came in. We were having some problems then. And the only thing that got done was from the property line of Jamie Rowley to the edge of my property line, that got dug out. That didn't do anything. I didn't say anything because, they came out to make an attempt to pacify me. Bill Piper's a good friend of mine. Bill got involved in that. That's why it's got done. That wasn't enough. What went on last year wasn't enough. When Bob Paul built those houses in my neighborhood, no retention pond. Nobody made him do anything. Maybe there's a good reason why they didn't. I don't know. It wasn't there. But I don't see a pond. I see a wetland down there. And to go in there to put a pond in there now would be millions, be $1 million more. And that would help everybody from royalty to, might not be the solution because there hasn't been a study done. And the study doesn't get done in just a day or two. A hydraulic study. You got to really put the time in, and that costs money. Mr. Over knows it. And you have to have a really keen guy that's really expert in that. So, Mr. Cherokee deserves to make a living, but he needs to be shut down for the sake of everybody else until we can resolve some of these problems. Yes, sir.
He has recently been cited for numerous violations. I'd just like to bring you up.
Yeah, well, I went back when we had that last rain, and I went out to see what was going on, and things weren't going on too bad. I went up there. Let's look at all the environmental devices he put in a couple of days. Worked his butt off. cleaned that mud out of there. Half of his topsoil's gone. I don't know where it went. It didn't go down the street. Probably got hauled out the truck. But I mean, but you need topsoil when you build, when you restore. You can't restore on clay, because clay is just slip and a slide. But it's a shame. It's starting to affect my neighborhood. I've been wanting to sell now for a year. My wife wants to stay. That's why I'm still there, because if it was just me, I'd be gone. And I have a very nice place. Spent a lot of money there, just like other people. But, you know, I'm ready to sell and get out of there, because nothing is getting done. I know you can't do it all. And I respect all you guys. You know, Jason, you know, your son's friends with my nephew. You know I've known the Burners for years. Known Bob for years. So, I mean, don't take it personal. Just tell him. I was spared. These other people weren't. I went to their homes. Horrible. I walked in their homes. I'm not a township supervisor. I walked in their homes. So, really don't have much more to say. But hopefully, who you're bringing in, he does a real study. And I hate to say this, I hope he's not from Fayette County. I hope he's somebody that knows none of us.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Terry.
Yes, sir.
Christine David, Dixon Boulevard. I just want to mention, this gentleman made me remember what I wanted to say earlier was, Mr. Rivera, when you did come out about 10 years ago and did that project, that pipe was not taken all the way down into that overflow. It stops now in the middle of my son and Troy's property.
That's the
and,
pipe where we took off of Dixon.
Yes.
It was blowing up.
Yeah, and it was a big, because I got down in there, I jumped down there and got some rock out to make my fish pond in the back, so I know how deep it was. But it doesn't continue to go all the way out to that overflow. And not only that
Just
issue.
goes down to the stream.
Doesn't
Down
come-
by, what, two?
Well, maybe there's a hole in it because right in the middle of Georgie's property, it comes up like a volcano and water just runs through there. You can see the water actually coming up out of the ground. There's another one that came from Michael Drive down. You can see the pipe that comes out of into the overflow
There's two pipes going that way
Yeah.
down there.
At that time, I came over and talked to you and told you that I wasn't getting anywhere with the township, and you promised me you would not let it go and come back and fix it. Because when they got that, I told you about the grant that they got back there. If you open that up that big, put a bigger pipe in, and it comes into a smaller piece of it, what's going to happen? We're going to get flooded. And at that point, I also told you, like he said, if you don't do something, it's going to end up getting worse and worse and worse. And
We had that
every year-
pond there. When the pond was being used then.
It was supposed to be, from what I heard, it was supposed to be a overflow pond. I was told that the owner, I don't want to name drop, the
Yeah.
owner of the property just dug a hole, put a barn barrel in there. It wasn't overflowing anything. So it was dredged out. I don't have the mosquito issue anymore, like I said, thank you for that. But every time new development happens in South Union Township, we get flooded more. All of that, Lowe's, Home Depot, Target, I don't know what all comes down in there. And I've lost all 4 feet of my property and my fence, and now it's up to my pool. How much more? So all I'm saying is to you, obviously there's an issue of flooding in all of South Union Township. So my question, and I went on record, is our pipes old? How new are they? Are they handling all of this? Because you have to admit, 15 years has been a lot of new development in South Union Township. But is it able to handle what's there? 2, I want to ask you is, I was told by a DEP representative, the permits that you got for where the old Walmart is years ago, all the new projects are grandfathered into that, which was only a 10-year water study. Now they require a 100-year water study. Is this true?
Trevor, do you know?
I can tell you that the ponds associated with Kmart and the old Walmart facility were designed to the standards at that time, which are a 2-year, 10-year, and it maintains, it has a 100-year overflow. The 100-year storm is an overflow, and it just overflows. It doesn't control to the 100-year storm. So if there's a 100-year event that occurs, it'll just overflow that the top of that berm. So
And all the new development after that, does it also flow into that?
the 100-year storm, these days has to be maintained pre and post. So whatever the 100-year event was pre-development must be post-development also, the same discharge rate.
So we need to figure out where all these developments are coming into, and if that's the situation while we're getting flooding. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Thank you.
Dan David again, 205 Michael Drive. The storm drain, when you come down Michael Drive, you got the little T, so you come down and you make the right. There's a storm drain right there. You can see it, the grate. That piping from that, is it all on that side of the road? Okay, well, obviously there's something wrong with that, because the day of the storm and 3 days afterwards, on the other side of the road, I'm not sure the numbers are. Mine's 205. Is that
I called that
204?
in for, I thought that was a water leak. It wasn't.
No, yeah, it was bubbling out of there like a waterfall for 3 days.
I was there.
Yeah, and it was
I
all
called
coming
that
down
in.
through my driveway, down through my backyard.
Lasted about 3 days.
To all
About
that.
3 days it lasted.
Yes, yes. So that's an issue, because I don't.
Is that the first time you saw that?
That's the first
My
time I
first
saw
time.
that, yes, yes. But that obviously is an issue that contributed to everybody below me, including Blue Moon and everybody else getting all kind of extra water. Once again, over the last 16 years, I've lost 2 feet in my yard. I have flooded every time it rains. This isn't a one-time storm. Every time it rains. However, yes.
When you say flooded, I mean like in your house?
No, half my yard. I mean, really? I mean, I bought property. I mean, if it's flooding,
I don't know.
if it's flooding 4 feet, I understand that.
Yeah, right. It's like a stream.
20-some feet of my yard gets flooded. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. It's half my yard every time it rains. Now, of course, it was worse this time. There's no doubt about that, because for the first time in 16 years, my drain in my garage, which is not hooked to any sewage pipes or anything, backflowed from all that water and got water in my garage. So obviously, that's all an issue. But I don't want you to misunderstand that this was from a freak storm. I've been flooding for 16 years. That bad for 16 years, not 2 feet, 4 feet, 20-some feet all the way up to my heel for the last 16 years. And it's all because it can't handle the runoff. Now, it did make it better when you guys replaced the pipe under the road there and made it bigger.
Yeah.
It did make it better, a lot better, because I flooded worse than that. But now, since I did the work, all that new work up there on Cherry Tree, it's back to worse than it's ever been. So every time it rains, it comes down through there. And the sewage, I don't know where the sewage comes from, but I got pictures of turds floating in the water. I mean, that's how bad it is. I mean, that's
about 5 or 6 years ago, wasn't it? I think that's when it happened. We found needles too.
Yeah, needles and yeah, you know, so just like all these people had sewage.
There's a manhole cover.
There's got to be a problem if it's building up that much pressure for the sewage to blow a manhole cover, which weighs 45 pounds or more, off. Then there's a problem somewhere.
There's hypodermic needles in there.
I mean, and our kids play in our yard. You know, I mean, so now your yard, even when it resides and goes away, your yard is contaminated with bacteria. Our kids play in that yard. How long does it take for that to go away? Now, I took water samples and I sent them to DOP, and it is sewage. There's no doubt about it.
Well, all I can tell you is we took the sewage over a couple of years ago across to Jason. Jason's our expert, and believe me, he's working on everything.
Okay, well, my point is,
But when
though,
all these
so
houses
if you have,
fill up with water, just like this last flood.
yes,
When all these houses, where do you think the water's going?
I understand.
It's
it,
going into the
my
sewer
point
system.
is, this ain't just
So-
from rain. If you got sewage coming into it,
So the
your
sewer's
study
coming
does from
in.
rain, right?
Yeah, the sewer's coming in because the houses fill up with water.
I
And it
understand
goes
that.
down the sewage and it pushes the manholes off.
I understand
And
that.
if you're
But
not
you're
getting
saying-
water in your basement from the outside, your neighbor's water is gonna push up into your house.
Yeah, I
through
know,
the
but
sewer.
my neighbor gets water in his yard.
Right.
But my point is, you're saying the study does rainwater and runoff.
Right.
Well, this ain't just rainwater and runoff. This is everything contributes. So if your study says for 100 years it'll hold 150,000 gallons, you ain't can account for all the sewage that's being dumped into it at the same time as well. So
Part
no
of it
wonder
you are
people are flooding.
because it's storm water coming into houses, going into the sewer and pushing the sewer out.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
that's
here's my
what's
point.
happening.
I lived there for 16 years.
Right.
And I've never seen anybody come out and do anything there other than fix that pipe. That's it. I mean, I got water running down the road in front of my house, into my driveway, my garage.
We met with DEP one day too, about the needles.
Yes, we did. But the point is, this ain't a 2-year problem. this is a long 16-year, 20-year problem. We gotta find the root of the problem, of why we keep continuing to be flooded. And I'm not talking 2 or 4 feet. I'm talking 20, 25 feet of water. And we gotta look at that problem, and go back that far and look at that problem, and maybe correct everybody else's problem they're having. Because I understand freak storms can happen, but this is way beyond that. This has to go back before that.
I assure you, we are working on it with our engineer. We're not engineer. He is, and that's great. It's going to be in his hands. Go back.
Well, I appreciate it. Like I said, I lost my fence. That's the first time ever. You know, I got a lot of damage as well. Luckily, I was fortunate enough that I didn't have the problems these people had with water in my basement. But I still got a lot of damage. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. All right. Number 13, financial statement. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, sir. Our financial statement is as follows. General fund checking account, $463,967.96. Our general fund investment account, $88,302. Our state fund, $403,984.61. Our hydrant fund, $9,812.30. Our athletic fund, $18,940.41. Payroll fund, $8,323.08. Our details on the trail fund, $1,536.04. In our North Union South Union Intergovernmental Board Fund, $23,549.22. In our recycling fund, $81,246.88 gives us a total of $1,099,662.50. Now our sewage fund, we have $2,571,960.86. So the grand total for both funds is $3,671,623.36. That concludes my treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Any corrections? None, we'll move on. Number 14, motion to pay the current bills. Mr. Secretary, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the following motions. From the State Fund, $10,132.73. From the North Union South Union Intergovernmental Board Fund, $11,204. From the Sewage Fund, $36,767.69. From the Recycling Fund, $2,636. The Hydrant Fund, $1,137.92. From the Athletic Fund, $3,140. And from the General Fund, $422,864.14. That is my motion.
We have a motion. I'll second Mr. Schiffbauer's motion. On the roll call, Mr. Schiffbauer.
Yes.
Mr. Burke, or
Yes.
Mr. Scott? Yes. Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Engineer, do you have anything to add?
Just want to make sure that everybody in the public understands that Target is actually undergoing resurfacing a portion of their paving, their parking lot, which includes the main drive. As part of that project, the loop sensors associated with the signal at the intersection of Target Drive and Matthew Drive, that traffic light will automatically go to a timed signal so that it'll be timed. So there may be a difference in the signal for the next 3 weeks up there until they come back approximately at the end of the month and reinstall the loop detectors on Target Drive. So I just want to make sure the public understands that.
Thank you. Any questions from the supervisor? Mr. Solicitor.
I just want to make sure everybody had a chance to speak and nobody was interrupted either.
I do have one thing. Jim Burns, 44 Ruble Drive. In 2018, my neighbor Don Williams did get flooded and cleaned it up, no problem. And then there was a camera test done on all the pipes, and I think it was in September, maybe October it was done. I'm assuming there's a report that was generated by that test. I personally would like to see that report and a map of the pipes that were kind of looked at. That will give us an idea really what's going on the functionality of those pipes, because I think that is probably the biggest concern. Those pipes aren't functioning. I have video here of the July 21st storm where the pipes definitely were not working. And Jason, we walked yesterday and looked at this. But I would like to submit that video to you for your review.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay? But the camera test really, I think, tells us the functionality of those pipes. Is there anything on there that...
We've already taken a look at the study,
okay,
the film, and we've already determined that that pipe is going to be replaced.
Okay, so it is going to get fixed.
Definitely.
Okay, that's the one that's coming down...
That's the storm.
Correct, yeah. So here's, just going to take a look, and you can just see where this is going.
Yeah.
This is right over, this is at the top of roof. This is the new one that you put in with the cement curve.
I was up for Bob, that does.
If this just was not working, obviously. So,
No, but you're talking about between Frank's and Jenkins.
yeah, but this was feeding into that. If you really watch this whole thing, I'm walking here, taking this video. I walk from the top of Rubel behind every one of those homes.
I mean, you're talking about...
The shed is in there. Correct.
You're talking about the one that we cambered between Frank's and Jenkins.
Correct. Well, that's one of the ones. And I'm assuming when that camera test was done, those trucks were all up and down Rubel, so I'm assuming they were looking at most of those pipes while they were there.
Yeah, they did.
So, once again, that report will help us, at least us as the residents, to see what the heck's going on.
Yeah, we have.
Help to appease some of us.
Well, you know, one thing we've talked about in the last few days, in the last week or so, we're certainly, things are going to be done. And we're going to have to look at this from a phased approach. Because we know the money's going to cost us, it's not going to be done in 1 year. And what we're trying to determine, what we will determine with the help of professional assistance, is the actual course and the phase we take, addressing the most critical ones that are needed to be addressed first.
And that absolutely makes perfect sense, and I think that's exactly what we should do. Where the most need, that's where we should be first. But understanding the problem, I think, as a community, I think if we understand the problem and then there's a plan to fix it, we're going to make a lot of people happy. If there's not a plan to fix it, people are going to be upset, and it's going to continue to be filled up month after month after month until we come up with a plan. That's really, that's how I see it, and that's just my opinion. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say one more thing? And believe me, I don't want to sound sarcastic, but the money that you're asking for, $50,000, $75,000, that isn't going to be enough to put the fuel in your trucks.
We know that.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I'm saying
It's a
is...
start. It's a start.
Yeah, but...
$50,000 is the limit for the request under the LSA.
I'm sorry, I didn't...
$50,000 is the limit of the request under the LSA grant.
Is there anything else out there?
Well, there may be,
Yeah,
but
we
under
are,
that grant,
and we've
that's all we
applied
can
for
ask.
them, but if we haven't got
That's
it.
the only one, for that grant, that's the most you can ask.
We have spoken to some other people that said that there is federal money on sewage systems that...
Hey, listen, I'm open.
So,
I'm here every day.
okay.
You come down and we'll get her going.
Listen, this was hearsay in a conversation. He said there's money.
Just
so
find
listen,
out, let us know.
By far, I'm no expert in that at all. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that
Well,
that's what we were
Joan
told.
has one of the best grant writers. I mean, she came from PayPen and works for John, and she's been successful in quite a few grants. And she's sending me emails all the time, but the problem is a lot of them we don't qualify for because of the classification we're in the neighborhood.
It's not a load of water
Right.
community. South Eaton Township is not a load of water community.
Right.
There is certainly grant money available for sanitary sewage issues. But again, if you're a load of water community, that grant money is a lot more than if you're not.
Right. Brownsville could get money easier, way easier than we can.
So I guess
Well, I can understand.
the next question would be the backflow valves that they put on. If you put them on their house, will that help them from the sewage coming up through their house?
And that's something we're going to look into. Like last year when we had the cammering done, you know, and I told the Williams this. I don't know. I did this my whole life. I can't put a backflow in their house and say this is going to solve your problems. And if I could, I'd give them my word that this will. And I have given people my word. John knows. But I did sewer my whole life. And I look at their house and I don't know if I can. When the neighbor across the street, this water's running in the back door and out the front.
Yeah, things are bad.
Right, because all that water is going to them.
Downhill.
Right. So I don't know if a little plastic flapper is gonna hold that back. I don't. I mean, I'm being honest. And, you know, I think they respect me for it. Just,
They do.
I wish I could tell them, I could come over and Diane, I'll fix this and make it right, but I can't. I can't make that promise, and trust me, I lose sleep. Like, I take this stuff personal. People, you know, you guys can take it for what it is, but I take this stuff personal. Like, I'm out, you've seen me, I'm in muck boots, I'm in a raincoat at midnight, looking at the rain, seeing where it's going, trying to, but the money is what it comes down to. You know, it, like he said, $50,000, we maybe put one pipe in with it. We need millions, and we need millions. North Union needs millions. Connellsville needs millions. Bullskin needs
That's what I'm
millions.
saying, you know, hopefully that there is something else out there, but you get 50,000 this year, so you get to put one piece of pipe in.
Right, it's start,
But
but
if you get
right.
$500,000, you don't have to mobilize one time.
Right.
And, you know, and go
Oh,
out
trust
there
me,
and give
I'd
more, but
love
I
to
mean,
get
I'm
a
not
million.
saying that's out there, but you know the point I'm making?
I get, yeah.
You get 50,000 this year and 50,000 next year,
Right.
you know.
Well, yeah, because you're
50,000
not
is
happy because I take the 50 and I spend it to fix his problem.
Yeah, but,
And-
and we know that there's
But I mean,
problems
honestly,
out there.
that's why we have 3 engineers looking at it, because
Yeah.
we're gonna, and that's what I took the one yesterday. I said, if I only get 100,000 to spend this year, what's my best bang for my buck gonna be? And that's what I want you to tell me. And, you know, is it putting a new pipe under Wiggins Lane? Is it going down and putting a new pipe at the bottom of Royalty? And that's what he, you know, with him, John, and the other engineer we're gonna hire, that's hopefully
The
what we come
interesting
up with.
thing, last night's rain, I walked up on that hill again in the middle of that storm, and the one that was overflowing had no water in it. The other 2 were working fine, and there was no water in that one.
Yeah.
0. So.
None was going to, none was making.
No, it
I know, I
wasn't
saw that
going
before.
there at all.
And,
So,
and
I mean,
that's
it
the
makes no
difference.
sense.
That's the difference between the rains. I mean, you go up one time and it's running 4 foot wide, and you didn't think you got that much rain, and then the next time it's downpouring, you go up and it's just barely touching the curb. So
Yeah, I saw you out there, remember?
it's
Oh, yeah,
different.
we talked.
I was
walking
checking
around
too.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. I was taking a walk.
It's a tough undertaking.
It is, and
We know-
we'll
we know
continue.
that.
Let us adjourn, and we'll, if you want to continue talking, I don't have a problem with it. It's- some of these people I know want to go, and
I've got a question. And how do they do that study? Like, okay, you have a development going in here, you did a study. Okay, we'll take for like, Target and all them wasn't there. Okay, but the existing storm drains was there.
Yep.
Okay, they do a study to tell Target what they haven't put in, correct? Then, but is that gonna continue with, is the old system gonna handle what's?
they're supposed to reduce their storm flow off of that property by 50% when post-construction. So if 100 gallon of water an hour ran off that property before, when Target's built, 50 gallon an hour is supposed to run off that property.
Well, that's
That's
under
what it
t-
says.
That's under today's standard.
That's under today's, but not,
In the standard, when they were built, it was whatever the property was pre-development, that's what you had to maintain post-development discharge-wise. Since 2014, I believe it has been, they want you now, the DEP has come back, actually it's the federal EPA that pushes down to the DEP, has now said, no, we want you to not only control the rate, but you also have to control the amount of water that comes out and reduce by 50% the amount of water you discharge. It's actually 55%.
So it goes across my mind, because you have the old systems and, you know, every time you get a development, you're adding more water coming
What you
in.
can't do is, if there's a piece of property that somebody wants to develop, you can't say, no, you can't develop that unless you go downstream and upgrade this entire system. They can only make them control the amount of water on their site at the point of discharge.
To control what, so the old system will handle, supposedly will handle what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever was going there before will get there now.
I'm gonna, this time I'll, Mr. Chair will, do you have anything?
I have nothing.
You have nothing? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn. 5:40.
I'll second Mr. Vernon's. On the roll call, Mr. Vernon?
Yes.
Mr. Scott? Mr. Schiffbauer?
Yes.
Motion carries.